You know, when you're deep in nursing research, it can feel like collecting all the data is the finish line. But really, it's just the halfway point. The real magic, the thing that gives your work its power, is how you present that data. It's about turning all those numbers into something that can genuinely improve patient care. So, how do we actually do that? Well, let's get into it.
Okay, this right here, this is the core idea of everything we're talking about today. It just nails it, doesn't it? It's not just about what you've discovered, it's about how you share that discovery. And honestly, getting this part right is what evidence-based practice is all about. It's what makes sure your research doesn't just sit on a shelf, but actually gets out there and makes a difference. So the whole point is to make this happen. Look at the left side. That's raw data. Just a jumble of numbers, right? I mean, what can you even do with that? It's pretty confusing. But then, look to the right. That's the exact same data, but now it's a clean, simple bar chart. And boom, instantly you've got meaningful information. That transformation, that's the goal. Okay, so to get that kind of clarity, nursing research really leans on two main methods. We've got tabulation, which is basically a fancy word for using tables, and we've got graphical presentation, using figures and charts. We're going to break down both of them.
All right, first up, the art of the table. Now, these are for when you need precision and detail. When you have to show the exact numbers and get into all the nitty-gritty stuff, tables are absolutely your best friend. They're all about getting it right.
So what exactly is tabulation? Well, think of it like this. It's a super organized way to arrange your data into neat columns and rows. The whole point is to take this huge mountain of information and condense it down into something compact and manageable. That way, it's way, way easier to actually read it and figure out what's going on. And here's something cool. Every single part of a good table has a very specific job. You've got the title and number, obviously. Then you have the column and row headings. The technical terms are captions and stubs. Then the body with all your numbers. Plus, you can't forget the really crucial stuff like units of measurement or any footnotes. It's like a well-oiled machine where every piece works together to make things crystal clear.
What's great is that tables can grow with your needs. You can start super simple with a one-way table, which just shows one thing, like say, the marital status of your patients. But then you can level up to a two-way table to see how two things are connected. And if you need even more power, you can use a manifold table to look at the relationships between a whole bunch of variables all at the same time.
And you'll see these tables all over the place in actual nursing research. A frequency distribution table, for example, is perfect for showing the spread of patient ages. A contingency table? That's what you'd use to see if there's a link between, say, a patient's age and how well a treatment worked for them. And of course, the multiple response table is a lifesaver for making sense of survey answers where people could pick more than one option.
Okay, time to switch gears to our second method. If tables are for precision, graphs are all about visual impact. Therefore, when you want to show trends and make a point, fast. So let's take a tour through the gallery of graphs.
So what's the big deal with graphs? Well, their superpower is making complicated stuff simple. You don't have to pore over rows of numbers. Instead, you can just see the story. The trends, the comparisons, the relationships, they all just pop out at you. And that means way more people can understand what you found.
Okay, let's start with two charts that look similar but are actually quite different, the histogram and the bar diagram. It's a really common point of confusion. A histogram, on the left, is for continuous data. Think things like age or blood pressure. And you'll notice there are no spaces between the bars. A bar diagram, on the right, is for discrete categories, like different hospital wards or types of treatment. And here, you always see those gaps between the bars. It's a small visual cue, but it tells you a lot about the kind of data you're looking at.
And here's a fantastic real-world example of a multiple bar diagram. This thing is built for comparison. Just a quick glance, and you can see exactly how patient satisfaction scores stack up between Hospital A and Hospital B in different departments. The story is just right there. No digging required. You immediately know who's doing better and where. So what if you're not comparing different things, but you want to show how one single thing is broken down? The parts of a whole. That is the perfect job for a pie chart. Each slice is a percentage of the total. So it's fantastic for showing something like the breakdown of a budget or the demographic mix of a patient group. Sometimes, the story you want to tell is all about the shape of your data, its distribution, and for that, you've got a whole family of graphs. A frequency polygon connects the dots with straight lines to show the shape. A frequency curve does the same thing, but with a smooth, flowing curve. Then there's the ogive, which is a bit different. It plots the cumulative frequency, so it's showing you the running total as you go along. Now, if you want to tell a story about change over time, there is no better tool than a line graph. It's the classic. By connecting those data points, you can powerfully show a trend unfolding. Think about tracking a patient's vital signs over several hours. A line graph makes that change instantly clear.
Okay, but what if your question is about relationships? Are these two things connected at all? For that, the scatter plot is your best friend. Every single dot is one piece of data, and by looking at the overall pattern of all the dots, you can see if there's a connection. Maybe it's a positive one, a negative one, or maybe there's no relationship there at all.
Now, for something a little more creative, there's the pictogram. This is for when you want something that's less about raw numbers and more about just getting it instantly. Instead of bars or lines, you use little pictures or symbols. It makes the information super intuitive and, honestly, a lot more engaging, especially for people who might not be data experts.
And last but not least, what do you do when your data is all about location? Well, when geography matters, you use a map diagram or a spot map. It's the perfect tool. You can see right here in this example from Chandigarh how plotting dots on a map shows you exactly where the data is coming from, and it can reveal all sorts of interesting spatial patterns you'd otherwise miss.
Okay, so we've looked at tables, we've walked through a whole gallery of graphs, which brings us to the big question. How do you choose the right tool for the job? How do you make your data really, truly speak?
Think of this as your cheat sheet. It really boils down to this. If you need precision, if the exact numbers are what matter most, you're going to use a table. But if you want your audience to get the main idea in a split second, to see a trend, to compare things, to feel the impact of what you found, then a graph is definitely the way to go.
And in the end, it all comes back to this, doesn't it? Every single piece of nursing research holds the potential to make patient care better, to literally improve lives. The stuff we've talked about today, these aren't just dry technical skills. They're the bridge between your hard work and real, meaningful action. So the question I'll leave you with is this. Your research holds a key. How are you going to make sure it's understood?